Hello boys, Cool Yoshi here, and I'm gonna be playing something very interesting that many people probably didn't really expect me to play much. Gonna be playing World of Warcraft Classic. Not the original game, this is actually a completely different thing. This is World of Warcraft Classic, and this is basically a remade server of the original game. Back in 2004 is when this was first released, but they decided to make a new realm section for it. If you're new to World of Warcraft, this game is really painful if you're not playing on an RP server, so I'm going to be playing on the Bloodsail Buccaneers realm, the only RP realm available. And we're going to be trying to do every single quest in the game as the Alliance side. I've actually already pre-planned this out for myself, and we're going to be doing Human Paladin, because in particular the Paladin has a really cool quest line that can be really fun to watch. So yeah, because I'm doing Paladin, I will actually include that quest as part of the walkthrough. So anyways, I don't really like the max, so I'll just go with the white, but I'll leave everything else as it is because I don't really care for taking too long for character design. For the name, however, I will be a little bit different. But yeah, so basically what I'm doing is any and every quest in the game has to be completed. That means any dungeon I'm able to go into that isn't a Horde Only dungeon, I will go into it right away. Some of them may even be done later, but for the most part, I'll try to avoid all and any grade quests that I can avoid at all times. So anyways, we're just gonna randomize the name for a few minutes. Fad Girl. That's actually not a bad name for a paladin. I'm gonna stick with that. I hate typing my own names, and Yoshi's probably already taken, so I'd much rather stick with this. That's what I always do when I play this game. So anyways, let's just jump right into it and quiet down so we can watch the human starting zone area. Oh yes, I'm gonna also be doing all of the starting zones, so you're gonna be seeing something different that you don't see from most people.
The noble humans of Stormwind are a proud, tenacious race. Though the recent invasion of the demonic Burning Legion decimated their sister kingdom of Lordaeron, the defenders of Stormwind stand vigilant against any who would threaten the sanctity of their lands. Nestled in the foothills of Elwyn Forest, Stormwind City is one of the last bastions of human power in the world. Ruled by the Child King Anduin Wrynn, the people of Stormwind remain steadfast in their commitment to the Grand Alliance. Backed by their stalwart allies, the armies of Stormwind have been called away to fight the savage horde on distant battlefields. With the armies gone, the defense of Stormwind now falls to its proud citizens. You must defend the kingdom against the foul mongrels that encroach upon it, and hunt down the subversive traitors who seek to destroy it from within. Now is the time for heroes. Now humanity's greatest chapter can be told.
Alright, so let's get into it. The game actually has a little bit of different stuff.
See you later.
I'm not kidding, like, this whole classic thing is completely different from what you remember. There's quite a bit of problems going on, like, even before the thing began. For one, if you didn't have this new mod called Questy, the quests wouldn't actually show up on the minimap. you would see a little dot that would appear, but that would be it. Not only that, but you wouldn't be told where to go at all. All you have to do is just, you literally just have to find stuff on your own. So yeah, it's quite a bit more difficult. And also, pretty much every mob in the game is a lot harder, because if anybody who's played retail, it's basically easy mode in the mode for the entirety of Classic until you reach the recent patch. That's when it actually gets hard. Even the dungeons are so easy, but in this game, everything's much harder. So this will be a really fun walkthrough to see.
Be careful.
Okay. So anyways, again, I'm doing every quest, which means I have to do all the starting zone quests too. So that means we'll be picking up everything.
What can I do for you?
Everything that I can do. So let's go ahead and begin. Paladin's kind of slow early on. You kind of just put in a put on a seal and you hit things, and that's what you do. But yeah. Because I'm doing every and all quest, obviously I'm doing all the starting zones. But I'm starting with mine just because it's a little bit easier and we'll get some better spells for the later ones. But yeah. So, like, the entirety of this game is so much harder. Normally, there are these healing items you have to use in the later game as well, but you don't actually have to use them at all if you were to play the game on retail. Oh, I forgot to turn on auto route. I kept I was about to say, normally when I do this, I usually go to auto route on, but I completely forgot to do that. No wonder. Now the auto loot is normally on by default, but it's okay. Okay. To like show proof on how tough this game can get, for a fact is that you don't even get a mount until level 40. That one fact alone just makes the game so much more painful because now you actually have to find a reasonable gold grind just to get through it completely. We don't really need to rest in between battles, so we can just go for as many of these as we can. For the most part, the starting zones will be super easy, and there's our first ding, as they call it. More power now. Pretty cool. Yeah. Now the game gets very hard compared to its retail counterparts. Pretty much the entirety of Classic WoW is a lot tougher, so no matter how green a quest is that we do, we will probably see a lot of times when we just straight up die because that's how painful the game is. Although we can equip a shield, that would actually take off our two-headed weapon, and I'm actually not going to be playing the classic tanking spec that Paladins are known for, or actually, I think usually now in Classic, Paladins just heal. I'm not going to do that at all. I'm just going to go for a much better spec, which is more appropriate. I call it the Retribution spec, or actually, well, no, it is called Retribution. And it's basically this two-handed melee spec that you're seeing right now. It has some really good abilities that you will see later on, maybe in like the level 30s or something, but for the most part. Yeah. Okay, at least we're getting some stuff. Okay, so now that's... Okay, so the Kobold quest is done. If you are wondering why I wasn't killing the Kobold workers there, they don't actually give anything towards the quest, so, yeah. That's why I didn't kill them. We will, however, be killing these wolves. Now, I've already played a warrior spec, and I found out something very interesting, which I'm going to show you just a minute. But since the game is so slow, there are definitely ways you can speed it up, and I'm going to show you it right here in just a minute. So, exclusively the melee classes, if you get bored of just doing stuff normally, you can do that. That's basically called the backwalk strategy, and that's when you attack a mob, or begin to attack a mob, which I'll show you here, and then after you deal one swing to them, you do the backwalk strategy, which lets you kill them while moving. This is actually a pretty crazy strategy and can help you level a little bit faster. The speed revelers will definitely use this a lot.
Good day to you.
Okay, so now we'll turn in both quests now. We'll take this one for more armor. And now, just by turning in these quests, we should hit level 3. Gonna go back to him in a minute. We need to talk to Marshall McBride really quick. I obviously don't have time to read the dialogue, because that's what I never read the dialogue. So, anyways, we'll just be... Okay, ooh. So now we have to go to our class trainer, which is in here. Brother Samuel.
Light bless you. Well met.
Okay, so we get our first aura. We can change this at any time. This is exclusive thing to Paladins only. And because of all these stacks, Paladins are actually considered one of the most broken melee classes in the game. For one, unlike warriors, they actually do have a heal, which is pretty quick too, so you could use it really well.
You need something? Safe travels.
Okay, so now we need bandanas and other stuff. Now, big strategy I'm gonna be doing to try and speed us up a little bit. Hang on, I'm actually gonna do a sell right off the bat. Because very often you run out of inventory space so quickly in this game. It's actually insane.
Hello.
Unlike some of my last runs, I will be actually using a small trick. I actually have a bunch of alternative characters that have already played through the game quite a little bit, and
see you around.
For that reason, I just wanted to tell you that I'm gonna actually be sending items from them to this character from the mail Mostly just to get bags so that I do not have to pay for them later. And the reason I'm able to do that is just because of a tailor, mostly. Okay, I do want to set up my second options, which is the action bars. This is the other thing that you should always do. Oh, and yes, this is not the default questing ogre that you normally start with when you first play the game. You actually started out slightly different. I believe, like, because I'm playing with, because I'm doing all of the quests, I am playing with Questy on, because it just helps me find all of the quests and tells me where all the quests are, so I don't have to go looking around. If I had to go looking around for them, it would take a very long time. Okay. Good, I don't have a back cloak yet, so I'll go ahead and put that on. Don't see anything here, so we're gonna backlock this guy. Since I'm probably gonna be asked several questions, I'll go ahead and answer one right away. Do people prefer this over retail, or do they prefer retail over classic? It's other people's choice, but for the most part, for the hardcore grinders, they actually kind of hate the new. Most of the hardcore grinders hate retail because it's just so many dumb things about it that just make it so bad. Not only that, but most of the difficulty in the game is gone. And bringing back classic, for most people prefer classic because it's just so much more nicer. It's a lot more difficult, so you can learn a lot of stuff along the way. In fact, a lot of people say the social aspect of Classic is much higher than retail, and that's why they like it more. And that is the truth. I've actually watched videos of this game, and most of them prefer Classic. Just because in general, it's a lot nicer. Thirsty levels. Now there's nothing much going on because we're just doing some of the quest sections, but part of what makes this game so hard is the game gets very hard very quickly once you leave the starting zone. Like once you leave the starting zone and start seeing red mobs, there are a lot of trolley spots and trolley mobs, as you'll probably see later on, where if you just don't go... Ooh, we got a bag. That's nice. This is what you want as drops, by the way. You know what? I'm just gonna join this. Having a guild early can actually be very helpful. For the most part, I'll try and join an RP guild, though it depends. But anyways, yeah, for the most part, The game gets really difficult because if you pull more than one mob, it's very easy to just die instantaneously. And there's also so many overpowered mobs exclusive to Classic that'll straight up kill you if you don't, oh, they will straight up kill you if you do not pull them correctly. And there's also quite a bit of difficulty in the raids too, because this is of course the game that has the crazy 40-man raids where you don't have a raid fighter or anything, you literally have to get 40 people together. So yeah, at some point we're gonna probably get into a raiding guild, but all of that will be done off screen. Oh, see, look at this. We're already pulling more than one mob at a time. As soon as you gain the ability to attack red enemies, you'll probably end up pulling more than one mob at a time because, okay. Again, we don't really have to worry about eating, so we'll just use this heal to heal ourselves up. But yeah. Yeah. I'm not kidding when I say pulling more than one mob can kill you, and especially as a melee paladin, it is not easy to separate mobs from other mobs, like when a certain pack falls. Pretty much every area in Classic World of Warcraft compared to Retail WoW, it's just, we'll always have at least some kind of pack where if you do something wrong, you'll pull like 2 or 3 mobs, and at that point you're usually just dead because, like I said, it's really easy to die. And I'm still haven't really learned much about the game, although I have gone through quite a bit of areas though. For one, I have a level 34 characters, my highest, not 60, because level 60 takes forever to do in this game. Quite crazy that we can only take these guys out by meleeing. Definitely goes a lot slower. Now this will seem kind of slow at first, but trust me, in the later sections of the game will get very fun. For one, since we're in Alliance, we get to go to the Dead Mines very early on. And if you watch that video, that's probably going to be very fun to do. The way I'm probably going to do the Dead Mines is I'll probably just try and get a group off screen and then start recording as soon as I get close to actually entering the Dead Mines. And if I were to like wipe or mess up or something, since in Classic pretty much everything is harder, so I'm not expecting to complete the entire Dead Mines trip on the first run. Like, we may end up going back to get some player. If we're able to get it within a certain time window, then I could just cut out that part and just get back to when I'm getting a groove, but for the most part... But for the most part, if I were to not have a good time for the dungeon, like, per se, maybe I die. Particularly the group life, that we start losing people, which I'll probably say more about that later, but that in particular is why the game will be a lot tougher. There we go, level 4. We're leveling up pretty quickly. Keep in mind, guys, throughout the walkthrough, I'm doing all quests. This will also include any attunements and other stuff that I might have to do to get in a raid. So, for example, if I'm able to get into a raid via attunement, then I will be doing those quests too. So you'll see every single quest, including attunements. Cool, I got all of my armor now from that. So just by getting all of that, we've become really tanky already. Okay.
Hello.
So let's turn this in and get, ooh, an important upgrade to our hammer. We're gonna stick with the two-handed one here. So we'll take that, equip it.
Safe travels. Hey there. Have a good one.
Now we have to kill the boss of the Defias in this area, Garrick Hadfoot.
For the Alliance.
And then Old Bold Laborers. Okay.
Greetings.
Okay, so now we get Blessing, a Bite, and Judgment.
Go with honor, friend.
We had just enough money for it. So if you didn't sell stuff earlier, you might not have had enough for Judgment. Let's just say, oh wait, there we go. We have Judgment. Alright, so as you can see, one of the main things that changed is obviously being able to... Probably one of the main things is that is going to make my playthrough different than others is obviously I have Questy, which shows you where every single quest location in the game is. This is mostly so I don't lose track of a quest. Now, I'll be doing every quest even if it's gray, but we'll try and zone hop to get more challenge out of the quest, and that's basically where you just switch shows repeatedly to find a better quest. Probably never seen a player do this before. The reason I'm doing that is because I don't actually want to kill many mobs at the starting zones, because if I kill too many, I may overlevel too, and we won't be able to one of the quests will then turn gray, and it basically loses a bunch of experience and rewards when that happens, so trying to avoid that at all costs. So we're just gonna go to the right instead here. Try and find this guy. There he is, Garrick Padfoot. We can range him, so...
That's still recharging.
Ooh, but we have to fight a mob with him first, so we're just gonna kill that first. Because 2 at once is not really fair here. Gonna use the judgment on him. I'll heal him. Like now. I mean myself, rather. Okay, easy enough. Take his head, and now we are going to continue on here. Okay. So probably one of the biggest changes, in case you haven't already noticed, is already some of the mobs have turned red. Red mobs are more aggressive than others and will attack you if you get too close. Similar things. They'll also pull other mobs if you pull one that's too close to another mob. So it's very easy to pull one mob if you don't know what you're doing. So, yeah. Alright. So one of the main optimizations I'm trying to do, since I'm trying to complete all the quests anyways, is mostly try and cut out walking time as much as you can. So in some of the later zones, you'll probably see me go in and do like 2 or 3 quests at once. Then use my Hearthstone to go back to wherever my main area is, and then turn all of those in at the same time just to save the stress of doing all of that. Now keep in mind though, once I get into the later 30 levels, we probably won't be able to do quests to level up for a little bit. In that case, I'll be just grinding a certain spot, and if that's the case, I might not do that then later if we do that. So now we get to do this again. Okay, so now we can kill stuff a little bit faster. I think the best optimization is just when I run up to an enemy and my seal's about to run out, I should just use judgment on them to deal a bunch of damage. Okay. There's a big reason, by the way, why the game's social aspect is a lot higher than others. For one, in the regular game, there's actually flying, so there's barely any confrontation with other people, really, anymore. But in Classic, you don't have any of that flying or mounts, so people are forced to walk around everywhere. So at minimum, you will usually see quite a bit of people throughout the one. They can do lots of cool stuff, usually involving buffing you with your other buffs so that you can buff them back. By the way, I forgot to buff myself, so let's go ahead and do that before I forget. I don't actually need my mana to take them all out, so for the most part, I'll probably just auto-attack when my mana has to regenerate. As you can see, we've already found a person. Generally, what we like to do is buff them when we see another person, because that's generally what you want to do in Classic. That's kind of how you make friends in this game. Okay. Since this is the last mob we need, we can just run him out. Kill him while we're walking. If you want a speed level as a paladin or warrior or shaman for particular reasons, anyone that does a melee swing, you definitely want to optimize walking backwards to hit them while you're running. Because it's actually pretty important and will help you out quite a bit. And I'm not joking. This is important. Since we are a paladin, we are able to wear mail armor, so we're gonna go ahead and put that on for the most part. Let's go to this guy to sell our stuff, because we obviously want to make sure to sell our stuff in case, okay. Nah, I wasn't gonna sell that. Just a misclick. Thankfully you can't sell it anyways. Everything's fine.
What can I do for you? See you around.
If I didn't have the armor upgrade for the back, it probably would have been better to just take the whatever sells better. Because often you want to do that if needed, but okay, this one's definitely better. There we go, level 5. Immediately.
Light be with you. Light bless you.
Wait a minute, I don't need paladin training right now. Okay then. Okay.
Hey there. See you around. Have a good one.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing. That's gonna be in the same area as those Defias guys, isn't it? Oh well. It's hard to know which quest is better to do, because usually you want to stack quests together whenever possible. Ooh, actually, someone's already been killing these guys. Perfect. We don't even have to deal with them. Cool. I like not having to fight anything. Ew. I'll try and avoid the combat for a little while, because just based off of the quest turning gray, because if you kill too many mobs, you'll gain extra levels and whatnot. Though, keep in mind, a lot later in the game, we won't be able to do that anymore. Eventually, the The game will just set it to a point where we actually don't have any quests to advance beyond the levels, so we just have to find other ways to level up. Okay, I'm getting really lucky. Oh, not anymore. There's nothing nearby, so I'm gonna just run away. In quite a bit of cases, it's sometimes better to just run away. Some classes have it a little bit easier for running away than others. For example, I have a mage as well. Mages are excellent in it anyway, because they can just freeze their opponents, or if it's a weak enemy, just simply arcane explosion it. Kill anything that's attacking them and keep running. Now, if you're not caring about completing all of the quests, a lot of the speed levelers like to do this crazy strategy where they basically kill enemies while walking and kill stuff on the way to a quest objective. If I was one of the speed levelers, I would actually maybe per se attack one of these wolves and run to my quest objective at the exact same time, just to grind experience on the way there. And if you grind it enough, then there's definitely a chance that you can get a whole level off of that just by doing that. Pretty cool, eh? So anyways, we're going to turn in this quest in, and that should be it.
Safe travels.
Okay, so now we have to bring this to the Abbey. What I like about this game is that it exactly tells you that you're in a starting zone, because it won't say Owen Forest, it'll just say the starting zone name, Northshire Abbey in this case. So, for the most part. Ooh. Oh wait, there's another door over here. A lot of these quests, by the way, I'll end up doing for my first time, so for the most part, I actually don't really know much about all of the quests, especially the level 50 quest or so. I've done high level quests on our characters, but that's more of a thing I did in the retail game, because on retail, I have 110 character from Legion, but that's about it. I actually stopped playing after Legion due to other complications. Surprisingly, it's not because the game was hard. I actually liked it, and I did some of the raid content there, and thought it was really good. And we enjoyed it quite a bit, but oh well. But I figured out you can actually do the entirety of Classic while just purchasing a regular membership, whereas for the other stuff you need to have upgraded up to that specific content. In this case, you have to be upgraded up to BFA in order to actually play the entire retail game as a whole.
See you later.
Amazing, okay. That was actually a pretty long walk to find this guy. Again, Classic doesn't really tell you where things are, so it's very easy to get lost, but we're finally done with that. So, we're basically done with this whole area, and we can now move on to a different area. I guess before I leave, I'll show you me getting my professions, because professions are actually really important. I don't actually have enough gold to get the professions I want, but I will try and pick up as many as I can early on, because them are actually really important.
How are you? See you around.
Anybody who hasn't played Classic or just World of Warcraft in general will know that there's quite a bit of professions you can choose from. There are some suited for different classes. For the most part, since I am playing a Paladin, a melee class, I'll generally get better armor if I go blacksmithing, which means the best path for me to do is to do mining and blacksmithing. So I'll be training those two, and I'll also be training cooking and first aid, because those are secondary activities you can actually stack with all of your other activities. So you don't have to actually worry about losing that. But after that, for the most part, I'm not going to actually do any of the quests here, since I want to go in the starting zone. Because you actually use quite a bit of experience and rewards via reputation gain if you do quests too early and they become gray. So you actually have to do quite a bit of zone hopping to get the game done really good. So
Need help?
yeah. Okay, wait a minute. This is the one I want.
For the Alliance.
We could take the shield, but like I said, I'm not actually,
I supply only the finest goods.
okay, gonna take this, actually.
See you later. Hey there. Safe travels.
We'll make this in our new home. There we go. You can see, once you kind of step into the actual world, definitely becomes pretty crazy really quick.
What can I do for you?
Alright, so we already got blacksmithing. Nice. This will let us
For the
make the
Alliance.
main armor that we could make in the game. But yeah. And this is what the mounts basically look like. In case you are new to Classic, mounts take forever to get in this game. You need to be at least level 40 before you can get your first mount, which he is above that, level 41 he is, so yeah. So eventually we will be getting a mount. However, it is very expensive. It cost us, I believe, 100 gold in this game, which is very expensive. Now, since I'm doing all the starting zones, I will have to travel around the world a bit to find them. Specifically for the Alliance side, there are 3 different starting zones you can go to. There's the Human starting zone, which you just saw me do all of. Then there's the Dwarf and Gnome starting zone. Yes, 2 of the classes actually... 2 of the races actually share a starting zone in the game. Same thing is with the Horde too, like the Orcs and Trolls both have the same starting zone, basically, which is really cool. And then you also have, and then for the Alliance you also have the Night starting zone, which is very far away on the other continent. It takes a very long time to get. So, because of that, I'm actually going to be doing a pretty crazy strategy that you're probably not going to see from most YouTubers, just to get to it a little bit easier. Because without it, it takes forever to get there. And this one thing I do actually cuts out a lot of time, so it's actually pretty important. So yeah, we'll be doing that. But anyways, to finish off, we'll just go into Stormwind real quick. The capital city of the humans. Sell our stuff and probably get a second profession, maybe cooking as well if we can find that. I don't need to check where mining is, I actually know where it is from before.
What can I do?
Since
for
I've
you?
been playing this game a little bit. I have quite a bit of attitudes. The main one being a level 34 Night Elf Druid. But I have a lot of attitudes as well. I also have some characters on the Horde side as well. hang on. What am I thinking? Let's go for cooking.
Be careful.
Okay, cool. That's on the way anyways. Ooh, there's level 2 quests in here. I might actually do those when I come back on. Anything that's really low level, I'll probably do.
Have a good one.
I did mention that every single quest has to be done. So, everything... and that we see that's a quest
Good day to
has
you.
to be done.
Safe travels.
So most of this is just doing chores, it seems like. Just running around Stormwind and doing chores. Now, because of the retail stuff, a lot of these basic cities aren't even crowded anymore, whereas in Classic, since they're the main shopping point for pretty much every class of the game, you generally see tons of people here. Lots of crazy stuff happens sometimes. If people decide to do crazy things. Most of the time it's just buffs though, and it's also where you would normally go to look for other people to help you through the dungeons, because you don't actually have a dungeon finder in this game, you have to find it yourself. Oh man, I'm trying to go to these quests, but I can't figure it out.
I buy and trade.
I guess I'll just sell my stuff off. Again, I am not going to be using a shield because that'll actually reduce my DPS, so I'll just stick with the two-handed strategy because I basically set that up. That's basically a strategy I want to do. I assume those guys are on the outside of this Stormwind, because there's both a main side and you can also go on the dock side to find them. So I assume that's where you have to go. Okay. I am not going to be using my blessings all the time, because the blessings only last about 5 minutes or so in this game, so not very long compared to how they would be in retail. But you'll probably see more of that later. Also, probably a lot of you will already know about that.
You need something?
Ooh.
See you around.
I actually didn't know this guy was here. He has some good recipes, but it's not the cooking recipe guy. I'm trying to look for the cook. Let's see here. You'll definitely need to read the sides in Classic, because the game doesn't really tell you where to go. I'm just trying to look for my professions right now. If I could find where they are located, that'd be really good right about now. And this is Classic for you. I'm really struggling to find this cooking trainer. I probably won't do it right now, because there's actually another cooking trainer that's going to be right on the way to one of my areas, so I guess I'll just get cooking then at that point. But cooking is really important and should be done whenever possible. Cooking, for one, gives its own unique food buffs, which the food buffs are very important for melee classes, because it gives you stamina and spirit generally, which is really good for paladins and warriors, so yeah. So yeah, this has been really good so far, but that's only because it's really easy so far. Now I'm coming over here because this is where the mining and blacksmith trainers normally are, in this area at least, so at least that's where I remember them being. So I'll try and look around here for my mining trainer. And this is where we want to go, actually. This will lead us to the next area. That is the Deep Run Tram, which is basically a cool shortcut the Alliance can use to get straight to Iron Forts instantly. Definitely a really good shortcut if you know how to use it. Okay, I'm gonna make this easier. I can't find the mine trainer here. I knew the blacksmith trainer was here from before, because I found him earlier on another character, but I haven't actually found anything else. So, generally what you do when you get lost is you need to first find a guard, and then you talk to them, and they'll tell you a little bit of info. In Vanilla Stormwind, there's not really many guards in congested areas. Like, quite a few areas seem pretty thin with guards. Man, I'm struggling just to find the guard. This is classic for you. These guards can be very tough to find sometimes. Gotten so far already. Finally found one, and then I'll probably have to go all the way back. Mining.
For the Alliance.
I know I was correct with that, I just didn't know what building it was in. I'm so close to it. And cooking is apparently in here, I just can't find it, so maybe I'll follow one of these other players and see if I can... Wait a minute, I think it's in that place. The Stormwind Keep. Maybe it's in the Stormwind Keep and I just don't know about it. I actually haven't gone in the keep yet. So I guess I'll go there in the next video, which will be very quick. And the first few videos will be boring or so, but once we start getting into the yellow quest trains, that is when we have the potential to die very easily, and that, like I said, I expect to die quite a bit. And the melee classes in particular have it really hard too, because they're very gear dependent, so if they don't have good gear, like early on, like I have, they generally die a lot quicker than our classes. So anyways, we finally got the mine skill. So doing mining and blacksmithing will let you basically mine ore for free and then create armor from it. Now, one thing that humans have that's really good is diplomacy, which increases all of their reputation grinds, which means they don't have to grind as much rep as other players, because they get a default 10% bonus to all rep gains, so they can become exalted with factions a little bit quicker than any other class in the game. And even the Horde, too, like, pretty crazy, eh? But anyways, we're gonna end the video right here. Leave a like if you enjoyed, comment, rate, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video, guys. Bye.